Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in. I want you to picture a scenario that is probably, well, a little too familiar. You're sitting in your bedroom, the door is shut, it's perfectly, flawlessly quiet. You're staring at a textbook or maybe your laptop screen, and you know you should be incredibly productive right now. I mean, the conditions seem perfect, right? But instead, you literally can't focus. Suddenly, the subtle texture of your bedroom wall is like the most fascinating thing in the entire world. So, why is perfect silence so distracting? It's a genuine mystery when you're in the thick of it. Instead of zooming through your work, you start to feel restless, jittery even. Your eyes kind of glaze over the words, and trying to read just one single paragraph feels like you're physically climbing a mountain. It's super frustrating because the silence is supposed to be helping you, but it feels like it's actually fighting against you. But then, something fascinating happens. You finally give up on the bedroom. You pack up your bag, walk out the door, and head down the street to a chaotic, bustling coffee shop. And suddenly, everything changes. That restless, jittery mountain climber from the silent bedroom just vanishes. In the coffee shop, you become a machine. You lock right into the zone. You put your head down and effortlessly churn out hours of work. It's a massive paradox. Now, if this sounds exactly like you, you've probably experienced a heavy dose of productivity guilt. You've probably blamed yourself, thinking, why do I need a room full of strangers and clinking coffee cups just to do my work? It feels like a flaw in your own discipline, right? Like, why can't I just be normal and work in a quiet room like I'm supposed to? Well, I have some incredibly validating news for you. From a behavioral science perspective, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You aren't lacking discipline at all. Actually, when you seek out that coffee shop, your brain is doing something incredibly clever. Let's break this down, starting with section 1, audio science and finding your sweet spot. You see, your brain is like a high-functioning engine, and it's constantly seeking what scientists call optimal arousal. Basically, that's the ideal level of mental stimulation it needs to maintain focus and stave off boredom. If you put it in a completely silent, empty room, it's kind of like an understimulated toddler. It gets bored, it starts making its own noise, and honestly, it throws a bit of a tantrum. So that jittery, distracted feeling you get, that's your brain literally creating its own internal distractions, because the room just isn't giving it enough to process. And this brilliantly illustrates why the coffee shop is the ultimate cure. It comes down to a phenomenon called stochastic resonance. I know it sounds super complex, but it simply means that a steady stream of background hum, like the chatter, the espresso machines, the clinking cups, actually elevates your brain right up to its perfect sweet spot for focus. That ambient background noise provides just enough external stimulation to satisfy your brain's craving for arousal and effectively drowns out all that internal chatter and restlessness so you can finally lock into the task at hand. Moving on to section 2, social science, the ecosystem of focus. So audio is really only half the equation here. There is a powerful psychological impact to simply being surrounded by a crowd. Even if you don't speak a single word to a single soul in that cafe, your presence among strangers triggers something called social facilitation. Subconsciously, your brain registers, hey, we're out in public, people can see us. And this awareness creates a mild but honestly incredibly healthy layer of accountability. This subconscious trigger is exactly what stops you from being the person who mindlessly scrolls social media for 2 hours. When everyone else around you looks busy, your brain feels a subtle social pressure to get to work, too. In modern productivity circles, there's actually a great term for this: body doubling. By surrounding yourself with other people who are reading, typing on their laptops, and just creating things, your brain naturally begins to mirror that focused energy. You aren't struggling in isolation anymore. You aren't studying alone in a vacuum. You've actively inserted yourself into a collective ecosystem of focus. You feed off the room's energy, and the room feeds off yours. Which brings us to section 3, behavioral science, the power of ritual. To really grasp the power of ritual, we need to look at the environments themselves. Think about your bedroom. It is deeply associated with sleep, relaxation, and comfort. The boundaries there are entirely blurred. Your brain looks at your bed and immediately thinks about sleeping, even while you're desperately trying to force it to think about studying. But the coffee shop? That's a designated space for getting things done. When you go there, it has a clear, singular purpose in your mind. And the journey is just as important as the destination. The simple acts of packing your bag, walking out the door, and buying a coffee, that's not just a commute. You are actively telling your brain, okay, we are leaving the comfort zone, we've entered a new space, and this space is exclusively for getting things done. Walking through this physical ritual sends a loud, crystal clear behavioral cue to your mind. It basically flips a switch before you even open your laptop. Finally, section 4, ditch the productivity guilt. So, it is time to fundamentally change how you view your work habits. We need to replace that guilt with actionable understanding. Let's recap. Remember, perfect silence is often your enemy, breeding brain boredom. Instead, the background hum of a busy place tunes your brain right into its sweet spot via stochastic resonance. On top of that, you get a healthy dose of accountability from the strangers around you, and the very ritual of changing locations signals your brain that it's absolutely time to work. So, the next time you're sitting in a quiet room, feeling jittery and feeling guilty because you need a change of scenery to get your work done, just stop. There is a whole ecosystem of science validating exactly what you need. I'll leave you with this question. Where is your brain's sweet spot? Go find your favorite corner, order your favorite drink, and let the background noise do its magic. You've got this. Thanks so much for joining me in this explainer.